Chicago police tell us a Maywood woman is now facing charges of murder and vehicular hijacking after she allegedly hit and killed an Uber Eats driver near Loretto Hospital. Police tell us this woman here, 33-year-old Montoya Perry, was arrested after 10 hours after she stole an Uber Eats driver's car and hit him before taking off.
He was my youngest son, and now I have to bury him because somebody decided to take his life.
We had the whole day planned out for him, to spend it with him, and I can't believe it right now.
She posted on Facebook, while a man lay dying in the street, a man whose blood was still fresh on the asphalt, whose phone was still ringing on the ground next to his broken body. Montoya Perry went home, pulled out her phone and typed, asterisk, the shit we had to do to get home is crazy, but we made it, and if you're missing a car, you can come get it. We don't want it. Asterisk, that post, that single casual laughing post, made within hours of killing an innocent man, tells you everything you need to know about this case. No remorse, no panic, no guilt. Just a woman who treated a human life like an inconvenience on her way home from a night out. This is the story of Daniel Figueroa, a 28-year-old man who worked himself to the bone trying to build a life for the people he loved. A man who was in the wrong place at the wrong time because he was doing everything right. And this is the story of the system that was supposed to stop Montoya Perry long before she ever got the chance to take his life, and failed completely. Let's start at the very beginning. Daniel Figueroa grew up in Downers Grove, Illinois, a quiet suburban town outside Chicago where he was raised with strong values and an even stronger work ethic. By the time he was 28, he had built something real for himself. He was living with his girlfriend, Sandra Guerrero, and her young son, a little boy named Daryl, whom Daniel loved and raised as his own. Sandra described him as a man who gave everything he had to his family. He wasn't flashy. He wasn't reckless. He was the kind of man who picked up extra shifts so the people around him could have more. He worked at Amazon as a delivery driver, and on top of that, he drove for Uber Eats to pull an additional income. 2 jobs, 1 goal, take care of his family. On the night of Sunday, February 23rd, 2026, Daniel finished his Amazon shift, and instead of going home to rest, he logged on to Uber Eats. He wanted the extra hours. He wanted to make sure his family was good. That decision, that deeply human, responsible, loving decision, would cost him his life. In the early hours of Monday morning, around 2 a.m., Daniel accepted a delivery to Loretto Hospital on the west side of Chicago, in the South Austin neighborhood on South Central Avenue. It was a food order placed by a doctor working the overnight shift, a doctor who would, within minutes, become the person who found Daniel's body. Daniel pulled his light blue Dodge Caravan into the turnaround outside the hospital. Standard practice for delivery drivers. You leave the car running, run the order in, come back out, 30 seconds. A minute, tops. He had done it 100 times before. He went inside. The doctor had texted him to leave the food with security at the main entrance. Simple enough. But outside, 3 people had spotted that running van, and one of them was Montoya Perry. Surveillance cameras captured everything. Perry and 2 accomplices, a man and a woman whose identities have still not been fully confirmed by police, walked directly toward Daniel's van. Perry climbed into the driver's seat. The other 2 got in on the passenger side. They weren't subtle. They weren't looking around nervously. They moved like people who had done this before. And then Daniel came back outside. He saw his van moving, his livelihood, his family's van, the vehicle he used to make ends meet. He ran. He grabbed the passenger door handle and held on as Perry hit the gas. She didn't slow down. She didn't stop. She accelerated. Daniel was dragged along the street, his grip eventually giving out, and when he fell, the rear tire of his own van rolled over him. He suffered a catastrophic head injury. Perry drove off into the night. A half a block away, Daniel Figueroa lay alone in the dark on a Chicago street, bleeding unresponsive, surrounded by nothing. The doctor who ordered the food noticed the app showed his delivery driver was still nearby, but hadn't knocked or called. He went to check. He came outside and found a man on the ground in a pool of blood. He knelt down, looked at the Uber Eats app on his phone, matched the face of profile picture, and realized this was his delivery driver. He called a man's name. He tried to get a response. He called 911. Daniel's phone was laying on the ground nearby. When the doctor dialed the number, it rang right there next to the body. Daniel was rushed to Mount Sinai Hospital. He was pronounced dead at 2:46 in the morning. His girlfriend, Sandra, didn't know any of this yet. She had last seen him Sunday night, heading out to work an extra shift. She would not learn until later that he was never coming home.
I didn't get no text or no call from him until his mom reached out to me at 7 o'clock in the morning saying, you know, he had passed away. I'm confused. I'm lost. I'm sad. Like, I don't know what to do.
Montoya Perry was posting on Facebook. Chicago police began working the case immediately. License plate reader cameras, a network of surveillance technology spread across the city and suburbs, began tracking the van. By around 11:30 that same morning, officers had located Daniel's caravan parked in Maywood, a suburb just west of Chicago. They set up surveillance and waited, and Perry came back for it. Officers watched as she got out of a different vehicle that pulled up near the van, walked over, and got into the driver's seat. As they moved in to arrest her, she got out and attempted to flee. She threw the van's keys during the chase. She was caught quickly. And here's the detail that sent shockwaves through the internet. She was reportedly still wearing the same brown jacket and pink pants that were visible on the hospital surveillance footage from hours earlier when investigators interviewed her. Perry didn't just stay silent. She admitted to taking the van. She admitted to seeing Daniel running toward it as she drove away. And she identified herself on the surveillance video. Her own words, her own admission. Her mugshot was taken shortly after, and in it, Montoya Perry is smiling, broadly, like someone who just got their picture taken at a birthday party. That image spread across every news channel, every social media platform, every comment section in Chicago and beyond. People were enraged, but the anger didn't stop at Perry herself, because when investigators and journalists started pulling her background, what they found was not the story of someone who slipped through the cracks once. It was the story of a system that had been failing for years. Montoya Perry, 33, of Maywood, had 8 prior felony convictions. 8! Her record stretched back to 2010 and included aggravated robbery, burglary, possession of a stolen motor vehicle, unlawful use of a weapon, forgery, and escape. In 2014, she was sentenced to 7 years in prison for aggravated robbery, served concurrently with convictions for burglary and vehicle theft. In 2023, just 3 years before she killed Daniel, she pleaded guilty to gun possession after pointing a weapon at a woman she had a prior dispute with while incarcerated at Logan Correctional Center. She received another 3-year sentence. She also had a documented pattern of giving police her sister's name instead of her own when arrested, a habit so consistent it became a noted part of her criminal profile. And then, this is the part that stops people cold. Just 2 weeks before she killed Daniel Figueroa, Montoya Perry was arrested again. Melrose Park police picked her up for driving on a suspended license, fleeing from police, and once again identifying herself as her sister to avoid detection. That case was still pending. She was out on pretrial release. The system looked at a woman with 8 felony convictions, a brand new arrest, and a history of violence and flight, and let her walk. 2 weeks later, Daniel Figueroa was dead. The conversation this sparked in Chicago and across the country was fierce and immediate. Illinois had passed sweeping criminal justice reform in recent years, including the elimination of cash bail under what critics call the Safety Act. Proponents of reform argue the law was about fairness, that poor people shouldn't sit in jail simply because they can't afford bail, while wealthy defendants walk free. But critics pointed directly at cases like Perry's and said the pendulum had swung too far, that judges weren't using the discretionary tools available to them, that dangerous, violent, repeat offenders were being released back into communities where they continued to hurt people. Daniel Figueroa's name became a rallying point in that debate almost overnight. The bond hearing was held on Wednesday, February 25th, 2026, at the Layton Criminal Court Building. Perry walking on crutches. Her family was in the gallery, calling out to her. Daniel's family was also there, his mother, visibly devastated, holding herself together with everything she had. As the prosecutor laid out the facts of the case, the Figueroa family wept. The state's attorney told the judge plainly, Perry poses a threat to the entire community. Her public defender pushed back. He argued that Perry's intent was not to kill. He said she was a single mother raising a 16-year-old. He asked for electronic monitoring instead of detention. Judge James Murphy wasn't buying it. He looked at Perry directly and said words that have since been replayed thousands of times. You ran over him basically like he was garbage and just left him there. He went further. I don't know if there's anybody out there you don't pose a real and present threat to. He ordered her held with no bail. And then, as the families filed out of the courtroom, things exploded. Perry's family, walking out ahead, passed directly in front of Daniel's family. Words were exchanged. Within seconds, a physical fight broke out in the hallway of the courthouse. Deputies sprinted out from inside to intervene. 2 people were handcuffed. Daniel's family later said that Perry's family had made comments inside the courtroom that pushed them over the edge. The raw grief, the rage, the total injustice of everything that had happened, it all boiled over in that hallway. Daniel's mother, speaking to reporters afterward, said something that has stayed with people. She said she could be angry, she could be hurt, but that wasn't going to bring her son back. She said she was going to let justice do what it needed to do. That kind of grace in the face of that kind of loss is almost impossible to comprehend.
These are the moments after Montoya Perry's family got into a fight with Daniel Figueroa's family. We saw 2 people were put in handcuffs, but it's unclear if anyone was charged.
Things were said in the courtroom by the other family, and
They reacted.
That's all I'm going to be able to say right now, because I'm not sure what's happening.
Yeah, it was happened so fast.
That she's being detained and that the case is moving forward. There's no doubt in our minds that she did it, and she did it with intent to hurt. I can be angry, I can be hurt, but that's not going to bring my son back. I'm going to let justice take its place and do what they need to do to move forward.
Perry has a lengthy criminal background. Prosecutors say she has 8 prior felony convictions, which includes burglary, forgery, retail theft, fleeing and eluding, and robbery. In 2013, she spent 7 years in prison for aggravated robbery. Prosecutors say she assaulted a woman, threatening the victim by saying, "If you don't give me your backpack, I'm going to take your life."
His father, Carlo, said, "He was my youngest son, and now I have to bury him because someone decided to take his life. I moved away from the city to give my kids a better life. Not for this. The city took him from me. I hope my son didn't suffer. He didn't deserve this. Not one bit." Perry is charged with felony murder and vehicular hijacking. She is due back in court on March 18th, 2026. Her 2 accomplices, the man and woman who were with her in that van, have still not been arrested as of this recording. A GoFundMe was set up for Sandra Guerrero and little Daryl. In days, it raised over $12,000. Strangers from across the country, moved by the story of a man they never met, trying some small way to make right what the world had made so terribly wrong. Daniel Figueroa was 28 years old. He was pulling a double shift. He was trying to take care of his family. He ran toward his van because it was all he had. And the system that was supposed to keep monsters like Montoya Perry off the streets looked away, and it cost him everything. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a CrimeLab report. Because stories like Daniel's deserve to be told, and they deserve to be remembered